Bangs are such a pain. Okay, this is the top 5 things you need to know before you start your keto. Here's my list. I have a list. Number 1, research. So we just read research. So I'm going to put all my favorite links at the bottom, like all of my favorite resources, all the things that helped me the most. Keto is a completely different way of eating, the complete opposite of everything that we've ever been taught. So you kind of have to unlearn a whole bunch of things and then relearn a whole bunch of new things. Take the time, read a lot, just take your time as well. So ease your way into it. Start cutting out sugar. Number 1, sugar. Number 2, all other sorts of starchy carbs like potatoes and rice, like fruits. Start increasing your fat levels. Not too crazy because you don't want to eat too many carbs and too much fat at the same time. So you got to be careful with that. But ease your way into it. Slowly. Or if you're one of those hardcore people, do it cold turkey. But you will need to know what you're doing. So research. So what sort of things are you researching? Your macros. You will hear everybody talking about macros. What's your macros? So what is your macros? So I don't like to use percentages. So this one's a little bit more tricky. A lot of people like to use percentages. I really prefer to kind of use your carb goal, your protein goal, and then your fat kind of will go around depending on your calorie needs. For beginner keto, the beginner keto is going to be between 20 to 25 net carbs. What is a net carb? It's your total carbs less fiber. So some countries, North America, it's separated. So it would be total carbs less fiber. In other countries, like in Europe and Australia, I believe it's already net carbs. So figure out what it is in your country and make sure that you're getting the right thing. You want the net carbs, not total carb. So number 2, drink lots of water. Like when you think you've had enough water, drink some more water. And then drink a little bit more water and then some more water. Do you get it? You need to drink water. Lots of water. On keto, you don't retain water, so you constantly need to be hydrating yourself. So you need to be consistently replenishing your water. What that also means is that you also don't store electrolytes. So what are electrolytes? Electrolytes are sodium, potassium, and magnesium. You want to be eating these every day and you will need to supplement. It's going to be really difficult to get these through a diet. You can do it if you're very anal. When you're tracking your macros, it can be done. But for your own sake and the sake of your sanity, get a magnesium supplement, get a potassium supplement, and get a really good quality salt. Personally, like gray sea salt or any sort of the darker sea salts, do use Himalayan pink salt sometimes, but I'm more a fan of the sea salts myself. So magnesium, potassium, sodium, your electrolytes. Study up on electrolytes and then study up on Keto Flu. What is Keto Flu? Keto Flu is what happens when you don't have enough electrolytes. So if you want to avoid this flu, nobody likes the flu. Get yourself some electrolytes. Go get a sugar-free Powerade. They're not great. Don't super recommend them, but in, emergency circumstances, a sugar-free Powerade or Gatorade will replenish your electrolytes. You don't like to get a lot into those crappy artificial sugars, but that's another talk for later. But if you are feeling really bad, it's the only thing around, they will do the trick. Next, I'm learning. My bangs. Next, number 3, this many. Tracking those macros. Tracking your macros. So when you're first starting, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So what you really want to just concentrate on is tracking your carbs. Don't worry about your fat. Don't worry too much about your protein. Just track your carbs. Your number 1 priority is getting into ketosis. And so what you need is to be less than 25 net carbs. Don't worry about the other stuff. You can figure that out later. It's going to be enough work just to learn the carb counts of everything. So I highly recommend you do track your carbs So go get MyFitnessPal. I personally use Chronometer, which has a keto function. It does net carbs automatically if you have the keto function, and you can manually set all of your targets. MyFitnessPal, I'm sure you can do the same thing on there as well. There's lots of different tracking apps. There's actually particular keto apps out there. So go and have a look, see which one you resonate with, and choose that, and then learn it. Learn it inside out, learn how it works, how to add food, add recipes. There's lots of really cool functions that you can have. Figure out a tracking app that you like and track your carbs. Don't worry about the rest of it. The rest of it will come later. Just focus on the carbs. Carbs. Number 4, meal prep. You don't like cooking? This is not gonna be easy. It's really difficult to do keto and to not be cooking all the time. So you really need to get comfortable cooking. Even if it's just a few items at the start that you can use on a rotational basis until you get more comfortable with the cooking styles and the cooking ingredients. Really important to get back in the kitchen because it's very difficult to find keto convenience foods. So what you're gonna need is to get back in the kitchen and make you some pie. Keto pie with no sugar and no flour, but almond flour works pretty well. So what you want to be doing is meal prep. Meal prep is your friend. You want to be making batches of things that are tasty, that you're comfortable making, and then are convenient foods, because it can be a bit of a learning curve trying to learn all these new ingredients and different recipes and ways to cook food. So find a few great recipes. There are a million sites out there now. I'll put them again down the bottom, my favorite ones. Find some recipes that you really like. Meal prep, just have them ready, sitting in the fridge or sitting in the cupboard, so whenever you're hungry, you've got something to eat, because there's not when the chips are sitting there, and they're just looking at you saying, eat me, eat me. Don't do it. If you do have a salty craving, nuts are amazing. Macadamias are my favorite. They're super high fat, low carb. Peanut butter is a good go-to, but it does have a higher carb count, and it is really hard to kind of go overboard with the peanut butter because everybody loves peanut butter. So macadamias are my choice. So you got your salty cravings, you got your nuts. For sweet cravings, you'll want to have fat bombs. So fat bombs are usually made with coconut oil and chocolate or other light flavors. Super high fat, really low carb. There's a million recipes out there, so just Google fat bombs. You're welcome. They're amazing. I usually had them for dessert because I used to struggle eating enough calories, especially when my carbs were so low. So fat bombs for sweet cravings and nuts for salty cravings. So fat bombs, meal prep, and number 5 is support. So find a family member, find a friend, someone who you can talk to about this, because it is a lot. It's a lot going on. It's a lot to learn, and it really helps if you have some support. So there's a bunch of resources down below. Facebook groups, got my favorites, the ones that I'm a part of. Instagram is a great resource, as well as Pinterest. There's lots of things on there to see and get inspired by. And then of course YouTube. There's lots of stuff on YouTube if you want to learn more about keto, which brings me to the last thing. So it's very intuitive. So once you take away carb cravings, your body will talk to you about what it needs and when it needs it. So much of being a sugar burner is being driven by carbs and being driven your hunger, and you're constantly craving and your blood sugar is going up and down. So when you're keto, so much of that is gone because your carb cravings go away. Your blood sugar is stable, and so when you're hungry, you're actually hungry. So if you're hungry, eat. If you're not hungry, don't eat. There's lots of different ways to include fasting in your regimen. Ketosis and fasting go really well together, so I highly recommend you look into intermittent fasting, multi-day fasting. There's so many different types of fasting, and they go really well with keto because you lose your appetite because you're not hungry all the time. That used to be me. I had a total carb obsession. Like I was totally addicted to carbs, and it was out of control. Like I had an eating disorder for most of my life. And so keto gives me so much more control over what I eat and when I eat. You do you. There's like 50 different ways to do keto. Do your research, drink your water, take your electrolytes, track your carbs, do your meal prep and have your snacks ready, and then find that support. Find that group of like-minded people who are also going through what you're going through. So comment down below. I'd love to like hear from you and like talk to you and see like what your experiences are. Leave a message and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.